up, guys, and welcome to the Casual Wrestling Show, the #1 wrestling show meant specifically for casual wrestling fans. Each and every week, I, the Notorious NerdyD, topples the biggest questions in pro wrestling. You can find every show Wednesday on YouTube and on your favorite podcast network. If you enjoy the content, make sure to join our casual community Discord. The link is in the description of the video, and you can ask anybody in the community. It's a chill place to hang out. We got lots of cool stuff going on right now. We're actually beginning the formation of the CWC Universe, which is going to be our own personal wrestling brand. You submitted a wrestler, right, Lauren?
I did.
You submitted Lorenzo, the Italian Stallion Caruso. Mm-hmm. There's been a couple factions that have been submitted. So we've got it's starting to come together. That'll start probably in about I'm shooting for the beginning of May, starting up the universe. So it'll give everybody time to throw some wrestlers in there and get a little roster put together. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about wrestling this week, Lauren.
All right.
So a couple different things I want to talk about this week. The first thing I want to talk about is we're coming up on the draft. It's quickly approaching. Triple H announces it, and it feels like, I thought we had a little bit of time, but it was right around the corner, and now we're almost here. It is the 28th is the first day of the draft in Corpus Christi. We're considering buying tickets and driving down to Corpus, being that it's a Friday and the kids are off of school for Fiesta, which is a holiday.
Let's just go.
We probably will.
Yeah.
More than likely we will. Draft will be a fun show. I think the main event of that show is also going to be the Usos rematch against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. So that'll be a fun show to go to. I think we'll go. But more importantly, the thing I'm seeing around the internet and people talking about is the draft is the official beginning of the Triple H era in WWE.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Well, so hold your horses a little bit there, because I'm not sure that I'm willing to buy into this. This feels like a hell of a branding slogan to me.
Okay.
Right? Because we did this once before. When Vince McMahon was quote unquote fired, it was the beginning of the Triple H era. And he went out and he recruited all of these wrestlers back to WWE, and this was going to be such a different version of pro wrestling. And what we got was, for the next 6 months, the same shit. It was just packaged up a little differently. And the IWC, they kind of cooled their jets on talking shit, but the booking didn't really change that much. Mm-hmm. And so here we go. Now we're headed into this draft, and I see people piping up and starting to say, this is the beginning of the Triple H era, that Triple H is going to reset a bunch of things, change a bunch of characters back to what they used to be, kind of rebalance the roster, which is all good and well. That kind of happens every time there's a draft. But I am under this belief system. This is my true beliefs of what happened. Look, Triple H has been in control since Vince McMahon got fired, okay? Now, did Vince have to relinquish a little bit of his say-so? Yes. And Triple H had a little more of a say-so. Did things dramatically change the way everybody over-fucking blows it? No, not at all. Not at all. How quick we are to forget the 3 or 4 weeks in December where wrestling was complete bullshit, where they were feeding us Bray Wyatt every week.
That's the first thing that popped in my head.
With QR codes and mysteries and magical moments and all that shit. And that's what got us through those 4 weeks of having no premium live event, poor booking, nothing, nothing was what they built it up to be. And Triple H really didn't do that much differently. If you look at the premium live events that supposedly are part of the Triple H era of creative, SummerSlam was good. And then from there, they were just average book shows. Now, people are going to try and argue. IWC will try and argue. They'll try and tell you, no, these are great shows, but their memories fucking fade fast. None of those shows were remarkably better than a Vince McMahon production. Okay? So then what I believed happened is we got closer to this Endeavor deal, and Vince McMahon saw a way to sink his teeth back into the company, okay? Which I still don't think is done, by the way. I think he came in hot. He came in scorching after WrestleMania and thought, I'm back in charge. I'm going to make all these changes. And I think he possibly stuck his fingers too deep into the cookie jar on Monday Night Raw And it was blatantly obvious to a lot of people that Vince McMahon was back involved.
Yeah.
And so what happened was there was the overreaction from the wrestling fans, mostly the IWC, where they all panicked and started screaming, fire Vince, let's fire Vince. You're not firing Vince McMahon. I've seen the deal with Endeavor. He still has ownership in the WWE. He may be moved to a different position where he doesn't have as much hand-on ability to touch the creative, but believe it, that within 6 months, he will be back into the ear of Triple H. He's not, until he dies, he's not going anywhere.
Do you think that WWE needs Vince McMahon to be successful?
No, Vince McMahon, no. I think Vince McMahon's out of touch. 100% I think Vince McMahon. I think that wrestling has passed Vince McMahon by. He can't handle that. I do believe that Triple H has the better ideas. I don't know that he implements them that well, but I do see ideas kind of come to be. Now, it will have to take a wait and see. Maybe Vince McMahon was shutting down some of the ideas that Triple H was trying to do this last 6 months. But if you really ask me and you really went back with a microscope and you really took a deep dive into the 6 months before WrestleMania, it was a fucking mess. Like, WrestleMania came off averagely good.
Yeah.
But that was really just based on talent going out there and performing. If you look, we've talked about this when we did the post-WrestleMania show. For the most part, those night 1 and night 2 were extremely ramped up so that you would forget what happened in the first hour and a half of each show. Both nights were designed to make you forget that, along with the kind of 4 last matches on of the night, the rest of the card was kind of shit.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar and Omos was kind of shit. Siri versus Cena was kind of shit. The 4-man tag team rumble, whatever the fuck they called it, was kind of shit. There were 4 or 5 really good WrestleMania worthy matches on that card, and other than that, it wasn't just an overly perfect card. So I'm not ready to hand over flowers to Triple H. And now you asked me something in the car the other day. You told me, and I thought this was great to add to what I'm already kind of talking about here, is who has been the most successful wrestler that Triple H has brought back? Because if you look at the IWC, they herald Triple H for bringing back all of these indie darling wrestlers, these fan favorites. Bring them back. They're gonna change wrestling. It's the Triple H era. But let's take a look. I've got a list here.
I'd like to see who it is because I really don't even
Lauren,
know.
tell me what you know about Tegan Knox.
Nothing.
They've done nothing with her.
No.
They haven't introduced her in a way that made her exciting or entertaining. That's one of Triple H's callbacks, and it's definitely just a body.
Is that the Karen girl?
No, that's Chelsea Green.
Oh, okay.
Tegan Knox is the shiniest wizard.
Oh, yeah. She's totally forgettable because
she hasn't done anything.
Wizard. Has she done any wizardry?
No, she's literally just been a body that has shown up, and there's been absolutely no reason to praise Triple H on Tegan Knox. Let's talk about Sarah Logan, Valhalla. She's become a mascot. She's the Viking Raiders mascot. And are we supposed to praise that? We're supposed to praise Triple H bringing someone back to just make noises and it looked like they were going to get involved with the LWO, and then it never happened. And then they've just the Viking Raiders have kind of skated around on this idea of we beat people up and we get beat up.
Yeah.
Okay. Sarah Logan hasn't added anything to the Viking Raiders that they didn't already have.
Nope.
Emma's become a cheerleader.
Yeah.
So we brought back Emma to cheer on a Madcap Moss who consistently is booked to lose.
Yeah.
What? Okay. Great book in there, Triple H. We have the Good Brothers, which are the
guys that everybody was all excited
with
about.
AJ Styles. They're AJ Styles boys.
Okay, yes.
Now, I know AJ Styles got injured, but that doesn't mean that you can't continue. Look, there's not a lot of fucking tag teams right now in WWE.
Yeah, I agree.
So you could use a solid tag team, and they've essentially just disappeared off Monday Night Raw.
I forgot.
Okay, Hit Row. Where's Hit Row? They're gone.
Concert?
No, they're gone. When's the last time you saw Hit Row?
It's been a while.
It's pre-WrestleMania.
I don't even think that I remembered that was that long ago.
I mean, they're gone. They're absolutely
But even when he
gone.
brought them back, like, I still didn't understand what was their point.
They didn't. I mean, they didn't do anything really. So then we have Candice LeRae. Let's just throw Candice LeRae and Mia Yim in there together. 2 more bodies to fill space that have done absolutely nothing to get over with the crowd. Mm-hmm. You had this great opportunity to pair Candice LeRae, Dexter Lumis, Johnny Gargano, and Indy Hartwell together to recreate what you had in NXT, and yet we're just not going to do that. Instead, we're going to let all 4 of them, well, Indy Hartwell's doing her thing in NXT, but we're going to let the other 3 just kind of flounder on the main roster.
Yeah.
Candice LeRae has done nothing. Mia Yim has done nothing. Johnny Gargano has done nothing. Dexter Lumis has done absolutely nothing. He didn't even spend the fucking money that he took from The Miz. I mean, that's how you're talking. Everybody wants to give Triple H the flowers. Do you know how many stories he has started and stopped?
A lot.
That have not gone anywhere, that just because he's Triple H and not Vince McMahon, we've given him a pass. Mm-hmm. Now we have Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed is the guy that you're not a big fan of, the big Australian.
Yes.
Looks like he may be the one guy who goes and does something, but it's been a while on the build up for him as well. Mm-hmm. Now I think there's opportunity there. I think that he will end up being the shining light off of this group that I'm reading right now. Mm-hmm. But he still is just not taking over the wrestling industry.
Yeah.
I mean, if you shoot 25 shots, you're gonna make 1.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm looking at here. So then I had Dexter Lumis. We just talked about that. Mm-hmm. Karrion Kross and Scarlett.
They've done okay.
What have they done? Lost to Drew McIntyre.
She threw some fire.
But missed even with the fire. But that's not her fault. It's the booking fault, right? Then they teased her and Emma at one point. That never came to be. Another start and stop story. So then Karrion Kross went after Rey Mysterio for a couple of weeks. That didn't pan out to be shit. And now Karrion Kross has flipped over a card on Shinsuke Nakamura. And I'm like, what the fuck does it matter at this point? Like, if Karrion Kross was out there actually like being booked correctly and beating people up, then every time he flipped over a card, you'd be like, oh shit, this guy's next.
Yeah.
But instead it's like, oh, this is the next guy who's going to kick Karrion Kross's head in, right? Shinsuke's going to go bury Karrion Kross even more.
Yeah.
And so they have such a good gimmick. And it's like they can't put together a storyline. I remember
when they first walked in and I saw their entrance for the first time, I was like, who's that? That's so cool. And then I just kind of felt let down.
Exactly. Let's go Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman's a Triple H guy that he brought back.
Yeah, I forgot.
He's in a tag team with Ricochet.
It is very weird.
Buried down on the bottom of SmackDown.
He's the monster. He should be let go to
He's
be a monster.
Literally the biggest man on your roster. And you have him paired up with one of the smallest guys on the roster, which is fine if you're going to use them correctly, but they've become just bodies for the tag team division. They have absolutely no story going on. They're being beaten up in the back by Viking Raiders. And once again, explain to me why there's 2 Vikings running around and why are they mad at Braun Strowman and Ricochet?
I don't know.
There's no fucking story to be told. It's just, hey, we got some teams and these teams are going to fight, and all these teams have no opportunity to get a tag team title match because those belts are locked up behind Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and the Usos, and we have no plan to let anybody else touch those belts for the foreseeable future except those 4 guys. So you have Vikings running around the back doing God knows what. It's ridiculous. Then you have Dakota Kai. Okay.
I like Dakota Kai.
But what has she done? What has Damage Control done? That's Triple H's faction he put together. What did they do? Participate in war games? Get beat up by Bianca Belair? I mean, that's what, get beat up by Asuka, get beat up by Alexa Bliss. That's all they've done. I would say at least they're
one of the more memorable ones, though. Like, they had a story going on.
Yeah. I mean, I guess. To be on the losing end of every story you're a part of doesn't feel like good booking. It just feels like bringing bodies back to get beat up. And then we have the biggest failure of the Triple H era of the last 6 months, and that is Bray Wyatt.
I know.
He's just fucking gone. He's just gone.
Well, I feel like 6 months of my life was gone on
So we were out
QR
here.
codes.
We were out here Sherlock Holmesing this motherfucker, chasing QR codes, playing little games on our phone. There were more weeks of puzzles than there were of actual Bray Wyatt on TV. He came back, cut 2 or 3 of the most discombobulated fucking promos I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Just rambling and saying bullshit that the IWC tried to fucking act pretentious and like, oh, it's so fucking deep. No, it's not. He didn't know what the fuck he's saying. And then he gets his fucking feelings hurt because, you know what? After fucking 7 weeks or 7 months, it felt like, of fucking promos, you actually got to take your ass out there and wrestle.
Yeah.
And so, what did we get from Bray Wyatt? The fucking Mountain Dew pitch black match. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, then it ended with like, what's his name? Uncle Howdy or whatever up there, and then nothing happened.
That's what I'm saying.
So then I left even more confused.
Fucking LA Knight fucking went in and sold that story. As stupid as it was, LA Knight sold that story.
Wait.
Went out and did a fucking black light match, which ended with him being thrown through a box with Ramblin' Rabbit and Uncle Howdy and all these characters. And then it seemingly Bray Wyatt looked like he was going to move on and pick on Bobby Lashley. And he just disappeared.
Bye.
Just gone.
Is LA Knight a Triple H guy? Or
No.
was he already there?
I mean, I don't think he was NXT. I'm not giving Triple H anybody, like probably a Triple H guy as far as NXT goes, but I'm talking about people that Triple H sought out when he gained control to bring back to the... No, I mean, remember LA Knight was fucking part of the Maximum Male Models.
Okay, but
That's
that
where-
was pre...
I believe that
leaving.
was a Vince McMahon thing. I don't think, but
Okay.
still, Triple H hasn't done anything else with LA Knight. He
like
wasn't
LA
at
Knight.
WrestleMania. He lost to Xavier Woods last week.
Yeah, I
Now the rumors, and we'll get to this, is that he's not even going to win Money in the fucking Bank. So, I mean, yeah, let's all fucking praise Triple H. But look at that list. And somebody explained to me, like, oh, we're going to this is the official start of the Triple H era. What? He's going to turn Butch back into whatever the fuck his name was?
Oh, I don't even remember.
What, he's going to turn Ciampa back into whatever the fuck, his character was? That's cool. That's fine. But that's not what's wrong. That's not what we've been complaining about with Vince McMahon for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
It's going to take a lot more than that to convince me that looking at this list, that Triple H is going to be considerably better than Vince McMahon. I just don't fucking see it. Now, the one shining light of all of this is Solo Sikoa. I'm starting to buy into this idea that Solo Sikoa could be the guy to take down Roman Reigns. My only problem is the more that they begin to build up Solo Sikoa, it seems to be coming at the expense of the Usos. I hate this thing that happens in pro wrestling and storytelling where in order to build one guy, we almost have to make the other two guys look like doofuses, right?
Yeah.
So the Usos, who seem to be intelligent human beings, almost have to be naive to the fact that they're being pushed out of this story, right? Mm-hmm. Naive to the fact that, like, Paul Heyman, and I get it, it's storytelling, and that's fine, and some people enjoy it, but to me, I don't like the idea of the Usos being expensed in order to build up Solo. Now, it's early. I don't know where this is going. This could play out, and they've done a good job with the bloodline, so I'm not going to be extremely critical. But I will say that based on Solo Sikoa's performances the last couple of weeks, I'm buying into this belief and this rumor that's going around that Solo could be the guy. Now, I ask you this. Is it really smart to turn over from like one member of the bloodline to another? Or is that really just still going to wear on people that the belt has kind of stuck in one position?
I personally feel like it should move on because if it's still with the bloodline, it's still with the bloodline. So nothing has changed and you just feel like it's the same old, same old.
Agreed. Now, what I'm hoping, this is what I'm hoping as we move towards Night of Champions, which was formerly King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring. I'm hoping they figure out a way to split those two belts. And I had a thought the other day that was an interesting way to do it. So we have the draft coming up, right?
Yeah.
And let's say that this is why I like general managers. And without general managers, who the fuck is picking each team?
Yeah.
Like, who is drafting these teams? We don't. That's why these drafts are so stupid, right? Is we don't even know who the power at B is that is drafting the two teams to each direction. But here's my thought process is whatever. We don't know who it is, but somebody representing Monday Night Raw and somebody representing SmackDown that during the draft, they both draft Roman Reigns.
Oh.
One drafts him as the Universal Champion. One drafts him as the WWE Champion, which then in turn means that Roman Reigns has to show up on both shows. Play into this idea that Roman doesn't show up when Roman doesn't want to. Roman should then show up on Monday Night Raw and basically, or not show up on Monday Night Raw. They should have like a couple of Monday Night Raws go by where he just refuses to show up, and then they can strip him of the WWE title, and he can basically say, I'm not showing up on that bullshit show. He never has to lose the belt. The belt reverts back onto Monday Night Raw. He can continue his reign with the Universal Championship as he runs towards 1,000 days as champion, and all will be well in the world of WWE. That's just the way I see it. That's the way I would like to see it.
That would be interesting, but we probably won't get that.
Which would give Cody Rhodes the ability to finish his story, not necessarily against Roman Reigns. He could finish it in some form or fashion on Monday Night Raw, which would then allow them to continue the story of either Solo or Jey Uso dethroning Roman Reigns at some point.
Yeah.
I like that story.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you see Trish Stratus's promo this past week?
I only got to watch part of it because I had to kind of speed through
Monday
Night Raw.
No. So like Trish Stratus came out on Monday Night and Raw and reminded everybody she's that girl. Mm-hmm. She's that woman.
I like her.
She cuts a better promo than 90% of the women's roster.
She's got like the it factor.
You didn't watch her in the Attitude Era. She was the shit. Like there's a lot of people, and I admittedly will say that I forgot, when time heals wounds or whatever, I don't know how you apply that here, but whatever. I forgot. She's the GOAT. She's the GOAT. Like to see her, she's better on a microphone than Charlotte. She is. Charlotte is robotic. There's lots of people who think Charlotte's great on a microphone. I don't think she is. When Trish talked, there was fucking like it came from the brain and it didn't look memorized. She's better on the mic than Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch, I tell you, Becky Lynch fooled me. She got me, right? Becky Lynch cuts a promo, but it's a promo cut out of like the WWE handbook. Say something bad about the person, say something that gets the crowd reaction, get a cheap pop here, insert like I'm the man because people will pop for that, and then kind of, it's so segmented and so scripted that it never comes off natural. When Trish Stratus was talking, I could feel it. Like I could feel the emotion, and I was like, oh man, I am invested into this story. I like what's going on between Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch, and I'm actually on the side of Trish Stratus, not just because she's on my fantasy wrestling team.
How long do you think that they're going to keep her back?
I think she goes through SummerSlam.
Okay.
So August, at least. I think that's probably it.
So
I don't
another
think she's
random question. How old is too old to wrestle?
I don't think there's an age. Look at her.
Yeah, she moves fucking good.
She doesn't look. She looks
to be younger than some of the
that's what I'm saying.
Girls,
she looks to
crazy.
Be in as good of shape as a lot of people who are on that roster right now. If she was a man, we wouldn't even be questioning her age.
Well, that's my question, right? Is that I remember seeing Lita in her, right? That's just the thing that pops in my head. I don't see her as the same age as her. I think they're very close in age, not the same age.
They're the same age.
Oh, they're the same age?
I believe they're the exact same age.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But one thing I say, I think Lita has lived a little rougher life. I think Trish Stratus is like, her business is a yoga instructor.
Oh, really?
So she's an athlete. Like she's continued to be an athlete even past being a wrestler. But yeah, Bayley cuts a pretty good promo, but she doesn't. I don't think she has the personality that Trish Stratus has. Alexa Bliss, I think is a pretty close comp, but still. I just think Trish reminded me she's the GOAT.
You.
I've seen this floating around, Lauren. There's talk of an edgier third hour of Monday Night Raw.
Okay, what does that mean?
So they're talking about I don't know where this came from, but they're talking about that it's the 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock hour of Monday Night Raw. They've talked to Universal about possibly, kind of releasing the rules a little bit and easing up in that last hour. We talked about this the other day, and I kind of told you I like this idea. I really, and they've tried it before, but I don't like the way they did it last time. They did like a Raw Underground, and it was kind of hokey. It didn't work. I literally would prefer if Monday Night Raw was from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, 2 hours long. Okay? Yeah. That is the show. Then the credits roll on Monday Night Raw, and we come back to a show that is called Raw After Dark. And it is a 1 hour wrestling show that gives you more of that Attitude Era feel. Maybe they let people bleed a little bit. Maybe they let the storylines get a little darker. Maybe they appease that. I really think they could cut into the AEW crowd if they just took 1 hour a week and catered the stories in that direction. Monday Night Raw is too long.
Yes.
3 hours of the same shit over and over and over and over every week is too long. It would be interesting if you had a 2 hour show, clean cut, just like SmackDown, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, it's over, credits roll, and we come back. And it's a separate show. It is 1 hour of wrestling in a completely different light. How you would handle premium live events, I'm not sure. Maybe this show doesn't lead into premium live events. Maybe the premium live events, you tone it down. I'm not going to come up with, that solution right now. But I like this idea of having 1 hour that's just a little grittier. You don't have to go overboard either.
It would also make you feel like you've broken up your week. So unless you're watching it live, right? You're still watching 3 hours. But it would be nice to be able to watch 2 hours, stop, and then come
back and watch
Wednesday,
the next night.
I can watch the other hour.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree.
Because it was hard for me. I feel like I just watched SmackDown and then I had to go watch 3 hours of wrestling and I couldn't fit it all in.
When the storylines aren't super engaging, 3 hours is tough. I mean, it's a tough watch because it just feels like hidden in there is 2 good hours of wrestling, but you almost have to search it out through that third hour.
Yeah.
There's rumors that Logan Paul is being mentioned as the Money in the Bank winner for this year. This could work.
Okay.
I'm not completely against this, even though for personal reasons, I want LA Knight to win because I think the push for LA Knight has to begin at some point. Some point they got to begin pushing LA Knight, or else they're going to let that fucking iron just completely cool off and once again miss an opportunity. Yes. Kind of like they've done with Montez Ford. I feel like Montez Ford got hot for a minute and they've just let him cool back off. Now they're teasing Montez and Angelo Dawkins splitting in the draft. They've teased that a couple times in the background of Raw. But this Money in the Bank thing is interesting. I like this idea of Logan Paul having the briefcase and kind of holding the WWE hostage.
Do you think that he'll ever win a belt?
So yes, I do. I do think so. I think there's opportunity for him to have a belt. He is the biggest name that transcends outside of wrestling.
Yeah.
And so I think that, but just imagine having Money in the Bank. One of the hard things about Money in the Bank, and especially happened with Austin Theory, is the guy having to show up every week and tease like he's going to cash in. It's this night. With Logan, he could show up once every couple months.
Yeah. That could be kind of epic.
And just kind of, hey, you guys remember, I've still got this thing. Mm-hmm. And he could hold WWE hostage and hold the champion hostage and continue to tease. Imagine Cody Rhodes and Logan Paul.
Ooh, that would be
but
cool.
Kind of a long-term story that goes, I mean, maybe even all the way to something like WrestleMania, where he cashes in at WrestleMania. Imagine coming out of WrestleMania Philadelphia and Logan Paul beats Cody Rhodes, not in a match, but post-match with the Money in the Bank briefcase. And the story coming out of WrestleMania is that Logan Paul is the WWE champion. I think at some point in time,
that would be crazy.
Within the next 2 years, Logan Paul will be WWE champion. It's not going to be a long run. It's just going to be enough that they can fill up the headlines and have people talk about it. Last thing I want to talk about, Lauren, is I talked to you a little bit about this off the podcast, but I want to talk about the Judgment Day.
I did see that.
Because my most repeated comment on YouTube is, damn, bro, that didn't age well with your Dominic Mysterio. And I laugh because I go, what part of what I've ever said hasn't aged well with Dominic Mysterio? Mm-hmm. He's still not good on a microphone, okay? He still continues to struggle to get over with the crowd. Yes, the crowd boos him. They boo him based on the situation he's in. The minute Rey Mysterio retires from the WWE and Dominic Mysterio has to go out on his own, he is going to struggle. He is going to fail. And I've seen reports now that Triple H came out and said, look, we were highly considering putting Dominic Mysterio in NXT. Remember when I was screaming that and people were so mad?
Yeah.
There's now reports that Triple H had said it was a high consideration. What happened is he got part of the Judgment Day. They moved into this Rey Mysterio story and the crowd started reacting.
Yeah.
But the question that I have is there's a confusing thing going on with the way Triple H books the Judgment Day. Are we supposed to take the Judgment Day seriously, or are they a comedy act?
I think that they want us to take them seriously.
Then they can't have them huddled up in the back of Monday Night Raw looking like they're sitting on the corner of Sesame Street. No, swear to God, when I saw that segment, all I could think was Sesame Street.
Yeah.
So this is literally how the segment went down, okay? Damien starts by saying, Bad Bunny's going to be here next week. I don't know if I still want to be his friend. What?
We're all friends here on Sesame
No, then
Street.
Dom literally goes, it's okay, Damien. You don't have to be friends with him. And then Paul Heyman shows up and they turn and they look at Paul Heyman. I thought that was terrible acting. That was horrible.
Yeah.
Okay? I can't get worse than that though, right? Paul Heyman walks up, asks Damian Priest, hey man, are you good with what just happened? Damian does his patented, what do you think, Finn? Finn literally, no real words, goes, eh. Eh. What?
Yeah.
Eh. And then Paul Heyman, I think, who was fucking shocked at the moment, goes, eh? Really? And then Finn does it again. But this time, it sounds like a small child would do it. He goes, eh? And I'm like, what the fuck? What? I'm supposed to take them seriously.
Yeah.
They're on the corner. Like, I'm literally expecting fucking Oscar the Grouch to pop up behind them.
Yeah.
I think the truth is, I think the problem is the Judgment Day have ascended above the level they were ever supposed to ascend to, and Triple H doesn't know what to do, right? Because here's the problem. If you turn Dominic loose and you really let him, I was critical at WrestleMania and said they fucked up. They didn't let Dom become the biggest heel in the business. But now that I think about it, do you really want a guy who is not qualified, who does not have the skill to be the biggest heel in the business? To be the biggest heel in the business? Mm-hmm. No, that's bad.
So for my opinion, I really feel like Dominic is only successful because of Rhea Ripley. She helped build his character and give him credibility and stuff like that with the whole mommy and poppy thing. That's when I started to like him. At least I didn't like him before that.
But I don't.
And that's my opinion, and I don't give a fuck what you say.
Well, I don't think that's Rhea Ripley. That's story. That was good storytelling. Whoever wrote that story, that was solid. I can't credit Rhea Ripley. Whoever created that whole idea of the mommy and Dom being submissive to Rhea Ripley,
pairing them together was
100%.
Smart.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. The problem is, I believe Triple H was ready to send Dominic down to NXT. Someone came up with that story, and it hit. Mm-hmm. You're right. That's exactly right. That story hit, and it made Dom dislikable. But Dom is not dislikable because of the skills he possesses to turn a crowd. Yeah. He's dislikable because of the situation, because he is the spoiled brat going after his father, who is one of the most beloved characters of all time.
Yeah.
Because he is connected to Eddie Guerrero, who is one of the most beloved wrestlers of all time. Because he uses mannerisms of Eddie Guerrero, which people feel like is disrespectful. That's where the reaction comes from. It's not, Dom has never controlled the crowd. He has never said anything that has elevated himself in the eyes of the crowd. He's just rode this wave. And so that, like I said, Triple H was actually smart not to put Dom into that position because it's the Peter principle, right? You can elevate someone to a position where they become irrelevant. And I think that Triple H knows it would do more harm than good to put Dom into a position where he had to be one of the biggest heels in the business and just couldn't perform to that level.
Yeah.
I do believe that is really what's happening.
I guess I didn't look at it that way.
All right, Lauren, this week I want to do something that kind of goes in line with the other shows we've been doing. I want to do a bracket fight.
All right.
And this week's bracket fight is going to be for the most misused professional wrestlers since 2010. And I know that's very specific, but it got brought up in the Discord. Like, what was your biggest disappointment with WWE? And I really got back into wrestling around 2010. Mm-hmm. So that's where the bulk of my knowledge goes, after the Attitude Era. All so right. I wanted to talk about the 8 wrestlers that I thought were my biggest disappointments, or not, I just most misused. Disappointment, misused. I don't know the correct terminology, but just wrestlers that I thought could have been so much more that ended up kind of falling flat. And we'll start off here with the Bobby Roode.
Oh,
Bobby Roode was so over at one point with the crowd. Glorious.
Fuck yeah.
I think with Bobby Roode, the problem was that his entrance got so big, it overshadowed who he actually was and his ability to wrestle. And I don't know where he is now.
Oh, me neither.
I mean, he's just
still part of the WWE.
He's kind of gone. I believe he's still under contract, but he's kind of gone MIA for a hot minute. Him and Dolph Ziggler were doing the Dirty Dogs, and they were like a kind of a throwaway tag team. Mm-hmm. But what happened to Bobby Roode? They took away the entrance first off, which seems like the dumbest thing in the world. But I think you're going to kind of see kind of a pattern with some of these people I talk about of WWE almost crippling guys who were getting over that I almost feel like WWE didn't want them to get over. The other one here is a guy named Sin Cara. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with Sin Cara.
I've seen him before.
Sin Cara was essentially, I believe, supposed to be the successor to Rey Mysterio. Okay? Mm-hmm. And he was just booked so poorly. And just put in so many bad positions. I believe that he at one time was the #1 most popular wrestler in Mexico.
Really?
Yes. So he already had a following coming into WWE. Now, I believe that I'm not going to say, I don't know, allegedly were drug allegations or some allegations that led to like outside things in the ring. He fucked up his ring entrance quite a bit, but once again, it was like they put a springboard and he had to run, hit the springboard, flip into the ring. There was a lot of theatrics involved in what he was doing. To me, another wrestler that I felt like everything is lined up for WWE to have lucha style wrestlers, right? The kids love the mask.
Yeah.
And so I thought that Sin Cara was the perfect kind of follow up to Rey Mysterio. And now, I don't know what he's doing, but he's not part of WWE. Mm-hmm. So out of these two, I would tell you that I think Bobby Roode was the bigger disappointment.
I'll agree with that one.
So who I have here, number 2, and this is interesting because he's still in WWE, is Dolph Ziggler.
Really?
Now, I understand for you. You don't know, but there was a point in time where Dolph Ziggler was the biggest thing in all of pro wrestling.
Really?
There was a moment where so many people wanted him to be the champion, and they just never would pull the trigger for him. And if you look in this picture, one time he was leading a group that was AJ and Big E.
Big E?
Big E was his bodyguard.
What was their group?
I think AJ was kind of in love with Dolph, like a stalker.
Okay.
And Big E was his bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
But and I believe he was Money in the Bank, holding Money in the Bank at that point. Yeah. And everybody wanted him to cash in. He ended up winning the heavyweight championship, but it was a extremely short run. Mm-hmm. And after that, he just never got over the way he was again.
Yeah.
They just kind of buried him. The other one you know very well here.
I love him.
This is Enzo Amore,
He was one of my favorites.
To me, is the most entertaining person I've ever seen in pro wrestling. Mm-hmm. And so, to me, most people who watch wrestling know who Enzo is at this point. But I just think, I feel like there was so much they could have done. He's undersized. I get it.
But his personality was big as fuck.
Was huge.
Especially him with Big Cass.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was the perfect pairing. I think they should have been one of the greatest tag teams of all time. Unfortunately, it sounds like he was a little bit of a problem in the locker room.
Sometimes you just gotta put up with some shit.
So because of him being a problem in the locker room, I'm going to go Dolph Ziggler was my bigger disappointment.
I'm going to go Enzo Amore.
I get it, but you just, like, you'd have to go back. You'd have to understand it that, like, post WrestleMania, I don't know what WrestleMania it was, but post one of the WrestleManias.
I don't know that much. I only know because of what I've seen. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
So between Dolph and Bobby Roode, I'm still going to go Dolph. Okay. I think Dolph to me is the most misused wrestler possibly of all time. All right, so here we go. We got the Velveteen Dream, which I know he's done some creepy shit, but I'm going off of wrestling here and how he was used up until there was a point in time I think people thought he was the next big thing.
You told me about him, and I think I saw him like once.
We watched him on Tough Enough.
Yeah. Was just never really my thing.
No, he's a weird dude, and his character was weird, but I think there was potential there for him to do something big. Now, unfortunately, in this bracket, he's up against possibly one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, and that's Damien Sandow.
You told me about him.
Now, Damien Sandow has been given possibly the worst gimmicks ever, and he's always made them work. And there's certain guys who do that, and he's just like, he started out.
Who was he? Because I kind of remember him, but I don't remember.
He initially came into the WWE as the intellectual savior of the masses. Okay. And he would come out and he would have like I believe a cup of wine and a towel around his neck, and he would swirl it, and he would give these like extravagant speeches that were kind of like mind bending, and he was just smarter than everybody else.
Yeah.
From there, I don't remember. He became part of the Rhodes Scholars, I believe, at some point where he was a tag team partner with Cody Rhodes. I believe. I do know that he eventually became the Miz's stuntman, which was some of the. If you have not seen
remember
that,
him now.
When he would stand on the side of the ring and Miz would get flipped and he would flip himself over.
Yes.
You talk about just being given the shit gimmick. He got over with it. And I don't know what.
I briefly remember him.
I don't know what happened between him and the WWE, but something had to happen that they couldn't figure out how to make that work long term. I don't know what it is, but I'm going Damien Sandow there.
All right.
And then we have Alberto Del Rio and Alex Riley. Two guys that Alex Riley was a guy, he was the Miz's protege. He was kind of brought in as kind of the next big baby face. I think they thought he was going to be the next John Cena. He had a lot of energy. He was pretty entertaining. Yeah. Something happened between him and John Cena, and I'm not sure of the full story. But something happened between them, and when that happened, it felt like Alex Riley just kind of got cut off. Man. Now, he was in the show Glow on Netflix.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you go back and watch Glow, you'll see him. And I think he's wrestling once again, but I just think like he missed his prime. And there was a chance that he was going to be a big deal. Alberto, I know he's not a popular guy. Because he's done some shitty things in his life. But he was one of the best heels I have ever seen. Just the pure bad guy. He was so good. One time when I went to wrestling in San Antonio, he cut a promo on Mexican people. Him being from Mexico. But it got the most visceral reaction from the crowd. And it was off camera. It was like when they go to commercial break and then they give a guy a microphone. He cut this promo and it was fantastic. And he had people booing, and I think there were cups being thrown.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like he hit a visceral reaction. So I'm going to go Alberto as the most misused bad guy. Between Damien and Alberto, it's Damien. Okay. It's pretty simple there. Now here we go. We go between Dolph Ziggler and Damien Sandow. It's hard. We're talking about the most misused wrestler of the modern wrestling era. Yeah. Dolph, it's hard to argue with Dolph. Because he's continued to show up. He's continued to be a company man. He is sold. Like, he sells better than anybody.
Everybody likes him. I don't know of anybody who's ever said, I don't like Dolph Ziggler.
And like, I don't know if you know what the word selling means. Like, he gets beat up, more realistic, or just more wrestling realistic, over the top. He makes the other guy look so good. And he's just never been fully rewarded for that, I don't feel like.
I agree.
But then there's Damien Sandow. I can't get past the fact that and maybe it's just me, maybe everybody else can let me know, but Damien Sandow to me was the most entertaining moments I've ever watched wrestling, all involved Damien Sandow. So for that, I'm going to go Damien Sandow as my most misused wrestler in the post 2010 era.
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time again for the most electrifying segment in podcast history. Welcome to Name This Tag Team.
Okay.
Each and every week, I present two random WWE superstars, and it's up to you guys, the amazing listeners, to come up with a creative and unforgettable name for the new tag team. Submit your suggestions on our Discord channel, Name This Team, and make sure to tune in on the following episode where I will reveal the top 5 team names. But that's not all. As a special bonus, the newly formed tag team will enter into a virtual squared circle in WWE 2K23 Universe mode, where they will challenge for the casual mode tag team titles. So, Lauren, here are the 5 best tag team names from last week. If you remember, it was Rey Mysterio and Kofi Kingston.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to give you 5 names, and we've got to narrow this down to 1 name. Okay? So let's start with Jamaican Me Loco, man.
Okay.
It's pretty good. We have and I may have to give you some context. So I don't know if you know Kofi Kingston.
Jamaican.
But his song used to be SOS. We hear them fighting. So we have the SOSAs.
Okay.
We have Trouble in 619. So Trouble is Kofi Kingston's finishing move is called Trouble in Paradise.
Okay.
And 619 is
Rey Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio's finisher.
619.
This one, I'm not. I guess. Oh, I get it now. It took me a second.
Okay.
It's the 19. They got COVID-19. That's pretty damn good.
That is cool.
COVID-19. And then we have Boomyaka. So Kofi Kingston used to boom, boom, boom.
Okay.
And Boomyaka, like, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All right, so where are we going here?
Okay.
Jamaican Me Loco was my early favorite.
Yeah.
But I
kind of like COVID-19.
COVID-19 has grown on me.
Yeah, because it's kind of like relevant to now. It's funny and, All
right.
It's kind of
this week's winner is COVID-19. So this team is officially going into a WWE universe
COVID-19
featuring only tag teams, and they will be known as COVID-19.
I like
that was given to us by the Witters. So this week's tag team was suggested by good friend of the show, Notorious GB3. He told me that in honor of Logan Paul signing his new contract, that we should see if we could come up with a tag team name for Logan Paul and Triple H.
Okay.
Okay. You look confused, but you don't have to come up with a name. They're going to come up with a name.
Okay.
So that's the team for this week. Is Logan Paul
something to do with strippers
and Triple H.
Like X,
why
X,
strippers?
Because the thing is XXX, and then Maverick, like the Maverick X's.
Yeah. All right. All right, let's talk about a little bit of news before we get out of here. WWE is expected to make at least $50 million in aggressive cuts following the UFC merger. So Nick Khan has stated that the company is prepared to make cuts of at least $50 million following the acquisition of WWE by Endeavor. The deal is expected to be finalized later this year, with the new company consisting of WWE and UFC having an estimated net worth of $12.3 billion. While Endeavor president Mark Shapiro mentioned that synchronicity, that's one of them buzzwords, synchronicity between WWE and UFC will be a priority, Khan emphasized that the creative teams and production teams will be protected from the cutbacks, as they are considered to be vital parts of the WWE. The timeline for these cuts has not yet been confirmed yet. All right, so once again, we always want to kill fucking Vince McMahon for being the bad guy, but this is just what businesses have to do.
Yep.
They're going to have to cut $50 million off of the books.
Fat,
where does that come from? It comes from the talent. It comes from the guys who aren't on TV. It's not going to come from NXT, And it's not going to come from your main guys on the roster. It's those mid-level guys that are going to be at danger, and they're going to cut the fat. It's the hit rows. It's those kind of people who, if you're not on TV consistently, you have to constantly be looking over your shoulder at the possibility of being cut. That's just business, though, man. The Cavender twins, Hannah and Haley, have recently decided not to return to the University of Miami for their final season of college basketball. Having been part of WWE's NIL program, they have expressed interest in a potential future with the company. Their agent, Jeff Hoffman, confirmed that they will begin training at the Performance Center in Orlando this spring, and they are open to exploring opportunities to perform with the company under the right circumstances. WWE's NIL program involves visiting college campuses to recruit athletes, and the Cavender twins are eager to be a main feature in the WWE if the opportunity arises. It's Bella Twins 2.0.
Yeah.
Look at the blueprint. These two girls, look at the blueprint that the Bella Twins took.
Yeah.
Like, you can find a lifelong of success in WWE.
Yeah.
They're two twins. They look exactly alike. They have the right look for professional wrestling. They're both athletic. Jump in head first. There's nothing else you're going to do that's probably going to be more fun or more fulfilling. You will get more opportunities to be paraded around in different media outlets. I mean, look how the Bella Twins got hooked in with like the E Network.
Yeah. I mean, that's when I started to watch wrestling because I was like, oh, I like the Bella Twins.
And so that's what I'm like these two girls. It's just Bella Twins 2.0. It's just the younger version. And so good for them. WWE has changed the name of the upcoming King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring event to WWE Night of Champions, leading to speculation about the future of the tournament. Although no plans have been confirmed, PW Insider Elite reports that the tournament is less likely to happen now due to the changes in creative. The name change has been speculated to be related to the undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns, as WWE Night of Champions will take place on May 27th, which will be the 1,000th day of Roman Reigns' tenure as champion. Reigns is expected to compete at the event after skipping the upcoming WWE Backlash Premium Live event in Puerto Rico. Cool. I mean, sucks that it's not King of the Ring, but this makes sense that if this falls on his 1,000th day, I look deeper into this and believe that Queen of the Ring is a lot of women's wrestling for Saudi Arabia. Like, that takes a lot of time for women's wrestling, and I just don't know that they were that stoked about that.
Yeah.
The King and Queen of the Ring has become kind of pointless. If you remember last year, Xavier won it, and like
Zelina.
3 weeks later, Roman crushed his crown, and then Zelina just disappeared after being queen. Mm-hmm. So they don't put that much emphasis on it. It makes more sense that if this is the 1,000th day of Roman Reigns' tenure as champion, that it be on a show labeled Night of Champions.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine.
Like it.
CM Punk's return to All Elite Wrestling is reportedly almost a guarantee, with AEW's broadcast partners being informed of his comeback. Punk, who was suspended from the promotion following All Out 2022, has been recovering from a tricep injury. According to Andrew Zarian of the Wrestling Observer, Warner has been told that Punk's return is imminent. Despite the Instagram controversy that made Punk a divisive figure in AEW, it is reported that he will be the top star of AEW's upcoming Saturday wrestling show, rumored to be called AEW Collision. This arrangement would keep Punk separate from those who have issues with him. Punk has been pitching ideas for his return, including a feud with the Elite, but there is speculation that he may just make his AEW return at the All In event in London.
I was going to ask you, like,
what?
How is that going to happen?
Well, how does it happen is Tony Khan grows a fucking set of nuts and makes everybody sit down in a room and says, you guys either get along or I'll find new people to wrestle.
Yeah.
Like, I get there's a lot of people who don't like CM Punk, but you can't fucking argue that he draws attention to the business. Mm-hmm. And there's no way they're selling out London unless CM Punk is on that card. Honestly, there's no way. So they better figure this out. This is the most Tony Khan thing ever, is to literally go, oh, if nobody wants to get along, well, let's just create a whole nother night of television.
Yeah.
Or you could just make everybody get along. It's stupid. The Elite versus CM Punk would be the biggest thing in pro wrestling, and you can't figure out how to make it happen.
Suck it up, bitches.
Last story here is
Okay.
WWE is reportedly in early talks with ESPN about working together on new projects. According to PW Insider, though no proposal have been made for a weekly television series, both sides are still brainstorming ideas. ESPN was also recently in discussion with a separate wrestling promotion, but the identity of that company remains unknown. The talks have come after the news that WWE will merge with UFC. ESPN has had some involvement with WWE in the past, sending UFC Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier to WrestleMania 39 as a WWE analyst and broadcasting past WWE WrestleMania events during COVID-19. In related news, former WWE on-air personality Charlie Arnold has departed ESPN to join Outkick, where she will co-host a new show covering various sports-related topics. Let's talk about the ESPN part of this.
Okay.
So ESPN works very closely with UFC, so obviously this relationship is going to be part of the Endeavor deal, right?
Yeah.
They know that UFC has created success on ESPN, so why wouldn't WWE? Let me ask you if this would be interesting to you. So Tough Enough, right?
Yeah.
Tough Enough is the reality-based show for the UFC fighters. What if that's not Tough Enough? What I'm calling it the wrong name. It's the Ultimate Fighter. Yeah. I have Tough Enough written down. Is why I'm saying it. Okay. So would a Tough Enough version of that show do well on ESPN like the Ultimate Fighter?
I think so.
So what if you grabbed like 2 teams of 5 from NXT, your younger NXT talent, put them in a house, completely scripted, and let them all live together, and have 2 WWE coaches like Dolph Ziggler and Mustafa Ali, and then at Survivor Series, instead of having 2 teams that don't fucking matter, you do the Tough Enough finale at Survivor Series where you have Team Ziggler take on Team Mustafa Ali.
I mean, I think that's genius because it would get people more involved. Like, I mean, I would watch the show.
Agree. I think WWE needs more programming like that, and I don't care if it's scripted or not. Maybe don't make it scripted. Maybe don't make it scripted. They did all
their shows on like the WWE network. I watched them.
I just don't think they've ever had a big enough platform to make those shows interesting, but I think they could work. Who knows? Mm-hmm. All right, let's end the show here with 10 questions, Lauren. You tried to whisper over to me at one point and say that you didn't prepare. That's not part of the deal here.
No.
I don't know where my title is.
Oh, gross.
So, once again, you're playing for this bad boy right here.
Okay.
Get off your phone. You can't look things up. You can't look things up. That is against all of the rules.
Okay, we haven't started yet, so.
So you have 10 questions.
Okay.
Okay? Mm-hmm. Wrestling-related questions.
All right.
Go for it.
Okay.
Get off your phone.
Hold on. Give me 2 seconds.
Get off your phone.
Give me 2 seconds.
That's cheating.
All right. Is this a female athlete?
No, that's 1.
Okay. Does this person... I'm going to fucking ask this question. I don't care if yes. Does this person have a bald head?
I think that's a fair question. No.
Okay, was this person on Monday Night Raw this week?
Yes.
Fuck. Is this person part of a faction?
No.
Okay. Did this person make their return to Monday Night Raw this week?
No.
That's the same market, all right. But you said he's not part of a faction, right?
No.
Okay.
Not part of a faction.
Okay.
That's 5.
All right. Okay. Did this person actually wrestle this week?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Which is stupid because I should remember.
It's not the Usos. It's not Shinsuke Nakamura. It's not.
Hold on. Let me look real quick.
It's not part of a faction.
Before I answer that question, let me look.
What was that, 6?
Yeah. Because I'm not sure if they wrestled on Raw or SmackDown.
Okay. So you just told me they were on both. Unknowingly.
I don't see a match.
Everybody on the other side.
Yes, no, he did. Now. He did wrestle. Yes.
They did wrestle.
He did wrestle.
I didn't finish
That's
watching
6.
all of Raw.
It's 6.
Okay.
He did wrestle.
Okay.
Shit, I don't know how I didn't remember that.
Okay.
I got SmackDown and Raw mixed up.
Was
6. That's 6.
Okay, so he's not part of the Judgment Day. He is he part of a tag team? Was that part of a faction? Is a tag team a faction? Let's side note.
So no, I would not say a tag team is a faction. A faction has to have a name that quantifies them to be a faction.
Okay, is he part of a tag team?
Is he part of a tag team?
Yeah.
There's semantics in that question.
Ew.
Be more specific.
Is he part of a tag team? Like,
okay, no.
Like, does he wrestle with somebody? Did he wrestle with somebody this week on Monday Night Raw?
Yes.
Okay, who did Kevin Owens fight?
You have 3 questions left.
God damn it. I'm swearing everybody's probably like, it's this person. And I'm like, I can't remember because I didn't watch all of Monday Night Raw because I was working.
3 questions.
Shit, fuck.
Come on, let's go.
Okay, so it's not Shinsuke Nakamura.
It's not Shinsuke Nakamura.
Who the fuck did Kevin Owens?
Come on.
Okay. Shit, damn it. Okay, it's not fucking shit.
That's a lot of
F-bombs.
Yeah.
Yes, because I've been thrown on the spot. Okay. Does he have brown hair?
I hate this question.
You know you like it.
Because what we consider brown is very different.
So he has hair. And it's of dark color. That's all that I can think, but I'm drawing a complete blank right now, so it may not even help me.
It's the same colors as Ronda Rousey. That's 8.
Ronda, that's like to you that's considered blonde. So.
Oh. I want to ask the question afterwards if he's
all right.
blonde or not.
Does his name start with an M?
Does his name start with yes?
It's The Miz.
No.
Who was it?
Matt Riddle.
Damn it! Fuck shit. I was kind of close.
Oh,
I was
man.
getting there. At the end, I kind of almost
I couldn't
got
remember
there.
if he wrestled or if he just came out in the main event.
No, he did. It
was a 3-on-3. It was the.
I remember now.
And he's not technically part of a faction.
That was a good one.
He does hang out with Kevin Owens and Riddle, but they haven't and Sammy, but they haven't called themselves anything.
All right, next week I'm coming back with a vengeance. I'm gonna go study the whole roster. I'm gonna look up and down.
Hey man, that one I gave you a chance. Riddle was that's very mainstream. I didn't dig deep into the pockets to get that one.
I didn't, and I actually saw parts of that match, so that was my fault.
But that is all I got for you guys this week. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure to check out the Discord to meet other cool wrestling fans and casual fans. Make sure to check out some of our other content on the channel. We have a gamer show. We have a food show. We're doing tournaments and brackets and all kinds of cool things. So make sure to check all that stuff out. Sign up for the casual wrestling the Casual Wrestling 2K universe. You can submit your wrestler. The Casual Wrestling Fantasy League 2.0 has started its first week of season. I believe I'm going to talk about that after we get off. You can leave, and I'm going to do a follow-up show for that. But with that, Lauren, I am Notorious NerdyD. That is Level Up Lauren, and you can ring the final bell.
Ding, ding, ding.